Hello and welcome to Catholic Answers Live. I'm Cy Kellett, your host, as happy as can be to be here with you on a Tuesday afternoon. I know what day it is today. Yesterday I might have not known what day it is, but today I know what day it is. It's Tuesday, and we got 2 hours of open forum. Second hour, Tim Staples. First hour, Joe Heschmeyer. And let me give out that number so we can get some folks on the line, 888-318-7884. Open forum means open to anyone with any question about the Catholic faith. You got a question about Jesus? You want to know about the Bible? You want to know about the moral life, prayer life? 888-318-7884 is the number. 888-318-7884. And as you might have guessed, if you've done this with us before, it is time for our quarterly pledge drive as well. So we will be asking you if you could support us financially, please, so that we can make it through the next 3 months. And that's why I give out that number at the beginning and then say I'm not going to give out that number for a while. So fill up those phones. And I got a different number to give out to ask you to pledge your support to Catholic Answers Live. And we've got a little bit of different way of doing it this time, and I'm going to describe that. But first, let me give out the number and the web address so we can get our first call in to our quarterly pledge drive and see if we can get this thing funded and keep doing it for the next 3 months. I promise we're going to go to the phones and take calls and do what we usually do. But you can call right now, 888-291-8000. If you do, you'll be the first caller to our pledge drive, 888-291-8000. Or you can go safe and secure online to CatholicAnswersRadio.com and get us started, because the first hour, especially the first half hour of these pledge drives, is the hardest time, kind of springing it on people. And so in the last hour, I mean, even the last days of the pledge drive, phone lines will be full. And so you're doing us a big favor if you help us out now, 888-291-8000. Now let me welcome Joe Heschmeyer, who's going to be answering questions this hour and also helping me ask you for your help. There's our first call. Joe Heschmeyer, welcome.
Hey, it's good to be here.
Thanks. Do you want me to tell you what's different about this one?
What is different?
It's kind of big. It's kind of big. We've never done it like this before. Usually what we do is we do hourly matches, and we're not going to do that this time. We're going to start with a big...
Can I selfishly say I'm relieved, because I get super confused about which match is for which hour. So I say the wrong information on the air sometimes.
No, yeah, I know. When it comes to fundraising, you're a really good apologist. But
Exactly.
let me give out the number again.
I've got a face for radio and the apologetics for fundraising.
888-291-8000. There's two folks have called already, and that's a wonderful start. 888-291-8000. Here's how the match is going to work this time. Due to some very generous donors, we have $100,000, and we're going to go until it's used up. And so if you want to take advantage of that match, then you got to call early in the pledge drive, because our goal, as always, is to raise $220,000, because that's what we think it costs to do all the stuff we got to do for the next 3 months. All the podcasting, all the video stuff, all the stuff that Catholic Answers Studios does. We like to be honest with you, tell you what it costs. That includes this radio program. And then ask you to support us. But we have a $100,000 dollar-for-dollar match for any pledge in any form until the $100,000 is used up. If we use it up all today, that would be like heaven. 888-291-8000. 888-291-8000.
I love, first of all, how easy that is. And second of all, that's a lot of money. And that would be an incredible matching gift.
Yes. This is when we want, don't leave it on the table. We want to use this up. Yeah, and Joe, like for example, your podcast is really. I mean, we when we have you on, I'm always surprised, and I'm not saying this in a smart alecky way, but like how many people call and go, "I love your podcast." Like it hasn't been on that long. Thousands and thousands of people have found it, and it's really helping people understand their Catholic faith.
It's a little more than a year old at this point. It's weekly. I think we're on episode 63. And so you know, just a little over a year. There's 52 week. You know what? This is too much math. Anyway, the point is, it's been growing, and I've been really touched by the number of people who've reached out and said that it's been helpful for them in their journey, or just that they enjoy it, or that they found it helpful in having conversations with other people. And so, I'm I'm honored, I'm flattered, and I'm hopeful that the Lord's going to do good stuff with it.
And that's the kind of stuff that people are supporting when they support this radio program. It's good, very good podcasting. It's people like Joe who have spent years preparing to do that, preparing both, I would say, both spiritually and intellectually, because the spiritual side of it is very important. To be a friend, it's awful hard to share the friendship of Jesus without being a friend of Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, because you can talk about it, but if you're not actually walking that walk, it would be like me saying, well, here's how you win a basketball game. And you'd look at me and say, I'm a little skeptical. You actually know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I would be extremely skeptical of that. As a basketball player, you're an excellent apologist.
Nicely done.
I'll tell you what, 888-291-8000 is the number. If you would fill up those lines now, I'm just going to let Joe do his regular job and try to get as many questions as we can answered this hour and ask you again for your help and support. The way it has worked for more than 25 years on this radio program is every 3 months, just for 3 days, and using just part of the show. We never use the whole show, just using part of the show, a few minutes each hour to ask you for your support. We've been able to stay fully funded and on the air. That is something like a miracle, except that I would say this, the thing that says to me it's not a miracle, it's just a fact, is that we have such wonderful listeners. If you know, you kind of, it's like it's working without a net here, but the net is thousands and thousands of listeners who will pick up the phone and pledge $10 or $20 or maybe $10 a month or $20 a month. Whether you're giving $1,000 or $10 right now, it's all matched up to $100,000. 888-291-8000. Let's go to North Dakota and start there with Brad in North Dakota. Thank you for starting us off, Brad. Go ahead with your question for Joe.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Very well, thank you.
Good. Hey, so I'm trying to figure out how often I'm going to have to go to confession during Lent. I'm having trouble with the first commandment. I was baptized, I was confirmed, but for the subsequent 20, 30 years, I really have not participated in the church. And I want to participate during Lent. I intend to go to Mass every day, but I'm generally skeptical about things. I've considered myself agnostic for a very long time, and I learned recently that's a grave sin, and I'm having a lot of trouble getting over it. I think I will have trouble with it on a daily basis for the next 2 months. So trying to figure out how often I'm going to have to go to confession if I want to receive communion.
God bless you. Thank you for the call.
That's a beautiful, can I give you a Bible verse that I find very helpful in situations like this? Because you're not the only one who struggles with those times of doubt or just the struggles and difficulties. And Mark chapter 9, a man comes to Jesus and asks for help with his son who is possessed. And he says, if you can do anything, have pity and help us. And Jesus responds to him, if you can? All things are possible to him who believes. And then the father replies, I believe, help my unbelief. And I love the way that reveals the human condition so well. That you can have the faith to say, my faith is very weak. You can have the faith to say, God, I need help believing in you. I need help not just falling back into the agnosticism that may be a long pattern in my life. And so when you find yourself in that place, I would recommend that verse, Mark 9:24. I'd recommend that prayer, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. Second, there's a difference between a struggle and a doubt. As a skeptical person, it's normal and natural for you to hear something and not immediately say, oh, sure, definitely, that's got to be true. You consider it and contemplate it. That's different than rejecting it as unreliable. That's different than doubting. In other words, to be faithful is not to turn off critical thinking. And it's a misunderstanding of faith. And sometimes a misunderstanding you'll hear from Christians. Don't turn your brain off as a Christian. And instead, just engage in that struggle with God. And so, in terms of the question about confession, I would say get in a regular habit of going to confession, even if you haven't made any kind of obvious violation of the Ten Commandments. The church encourages regular confession, even if you're not in mortal sin. And so, whether it's once a month, whether it's every 2 weeks, whether it's even weekly, something like that, when you get in the regular habit, can be really good for just spiritual growth. Because one of the things that happens there is that you also receive the graces in the sacrament to help you not fall the next time. And it can build up that reliance and that trust on God, which may be a good long-term antidote to the problem of agnosticism. Like learning to actually trust God and seeing that he does come through for you. But just to kind of concretely answer the question, I think if you find that you've crossed the line from struggle to just doubt, where you say like, no, I don't believe this, that is something you should go to confession for. But if it's just, I'm having trouble believing this, I'm having trouble making sense of this, that's not of itself sinful. That's part of the act of faith. So to say you believe in something, you've got to make some effort at understanding what it is you say you believe. And that may mean sorting out things that you find difficult in that. I'm really glad that you asked that. And I'm really grateful to everyone who may be in a similar situation. I know we're going to have to probably jump all over the place because this is during the fund drive. But I'm so grateful people like you are hearing Catholic Answers and are able to ask these questions in these major shifts in life between agnosticism and Christianity.
Brad, I don't know if you have our book, Why We're Catholic, but I'd love to send it to you. I'd also love to send you Jimmy Akin's book, The Words of Eternal Life, True Happiness, and Where to Find It. I think that you'll enjoy those books. If you've already got them, just tell Edgar and he'll give you another book that we've got. But I hope that this will be an ongoing conversation. I cannot think of a more beautiful call to get to start the day. I mean, struggling together, I think, is more or less the definition of what it is to be part of this church militant. And so it's an honor to get to struggle with you a bit and go through the struggle together. Joe, we've got one caller on right now. So I'm going to kind of reset a little bit, let people know where we are and what we need, and then I'll get another call on here for you.
Okay.
All right. Right now, 35, I can't believe it, 35 of our colleagues are on the phone waiting for your calls, and one line is busy. That means 34 lines open. 888-291-8000 is the number to call to make your pledge of support to help us be fully funded for the next 3 months. 888-291-8000. Right now, we have a $100,000 match. Any pledge that comes in up to $100,000, whether it all comes in today, whether it comes in over the course of the 3 days. When it's used up, it is used up. So you do two things if you pledge this hour. You help us by freeing up phones for later, because most of us are procrastinators. And so we'll come in, and I'm one of them. We'll call on the last day. Well, you're freeing up phones on the last day if you call today, 888-291-8000. But you're also guaranteeing that your contribution, whatever it is matched dollar for dollar up to $100,000. 888-291-8000. Or you can go safe and secure online at CatholicAnswersRadio.com. It all goes to the same place, CatholicAnswersRadio.com. Now, just because we have that $100,000 match for any gift, it doesn't mean that the usual things that we have available are not available. They are. If you are a new monthly donor in the amount of $10 a month or more, you become a member of our Society 315. You get the T-shirt. Literally, you get the T-shirt.
It's a great T-shirt too.
And I'm wearing it right now. I got it under here. And you get the car magnet, the Catholic Answers car magnet, and then you get all kinds of bonus content throughout the year. That's at $10 a month, and it's doubled, so it immediately becomes $20 a month to us. If you can come in at the $20 a month level or more, you get you're in the Society 315. You get all of that, but we want to send you two very fine books. Joe Heschmeyer, our guest today, wrote the book Pope Peter, a beautiful book, and we have a new book called Bible Mary, and it's about where you find Mary in the Word of God. And that's by Father John Weiss. So two fantastic books about Peter and Mary. If you can come in at the
Can I just say something about one of those two books?
Yes.
Bible Mary is such a good approach where it's just, I mean, you can't just as a Catholic say, well, here's where the church defines the Immaculate Conception or the Assumption. Because your Protestant friend is going to be like, well, I don't accept that authority. And this is one of the reasons I don't accept that authority. But being able to engage in the question of like, how do we make sense of Mary on terms that are understandable to someone who maybe is sola scriptura Protestant?
Right.
It's very helpful for one of those areas that a lot of people struggle.
The wonderful thing about that book, Joe, if I could add to that, is it's a book about Mary, but at its root, it's a book about how to read the Word of God so that you can get all the richness that God has waiting for you in His Word.
Which is totally fitting, right? In Luke 2, Mary ponders these things in her heart.
Yeah.
She doesn't take kind of a surface, just the literal surface level of what's happening. She wants to make sense of the deeper meaning of it all. And we would do well to read Scripture in the way that Mary ponders the Word.
All right, we need lots of calls right now to start filling up those phone lines. So that's at the $20 level. If you can come in at the $45 a month level, to all of that, we will add our 20 Answers book on Mormonism and the full course, the class, Mormonism, the online course with Trent Horn at the Catholic Answers School of Apologetics. Can you come in at the $10 a month, $20 a month, or $45 a month level? If you can, now is the time to do so. Every dollar matched, dollar for dollar. Your whole year of donations matched, dollar for dollar, up to $100,000 right now. 888-291-8000. I'll tell you what, I told Joe I was going to let him go back to doing his regular job, so I will just stress the urgency of the moment. We have 30 people waiting to take your calls. They are all our colleagues. When you call, you're calling into this building to talk to the people we work with every day. And they'll be happy to hear your whole story or get you done in 90 seconds. You tell them what you want to do.
So one more thing, if I can add to that.
Yeah.
The first day is important for a few reasons. One, because you can get some momentum going. Like, if there's a really good fundraiser, people want to join in on that. If things are slow, people may put off contributing. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish it was even the opposite of that. But human psychology being what it is, you can help get things going. Not only will your donation be matched, but it might inspire someone else to donate as they see
Amen, brother.
Things are really working.
888-291-8000. We depend on you to keep doing what we do here, and we're very grateful for your support. 888-291-8000. I'm going to go to Utah now. Bryce is in Utah, listening on the Catholic Answers Live app. Bryce, thank you for downloading the app onto your phone. That's another thing that our donors pay for, is the app, where thousands of people listen around the globe each day. Bryce, go ahead with your question for Joe.
Hey, Joe. So my question is, are we as Catholics allowed to deny or at least doubt the existence of non-resistant, non-believing atheists? Because I'm deeply skeptical that they exist. Because even if naturalism was true and nothing was supernatural, that would just mean that nature is supreme and we should worship nature. And so even the atheists on their own terms usually is just being ungrateful to the cause of their existence.
So, okay, I want to make sure, because there were a couple negatives in there. Non-resistant non-believers. You want to say there are no non-resistant non-believers, right? So
Correct.
You're saying
they're all resisting, and they're all resisting.
All non-believers are in one way or another resisting God. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think this is an issue where the church has dogmatically said one way or the other, because it's not a thing we can know. But I think it's good to keep in mind both possibilities as real possibilities. And the person I'm actually pointing to is St. Therese of Lisieux. She had a similar kind of view, like, how could anyone be an atheist? And then towards the end of her life went through a tremendous spiritual darkness where God let her experience that feeling of being apart from him. And she was able to psychologically understand it in a deeper way. And so I think she really attests to the fact that, like, no, it makes sense that there might be people who, even though from nature alone, as St. Paul points out in Romans 1, you should be able to know the invisible attributes of God, that there's an all-powerful creator, should be clear just from the existence of the cosmos. In Romans 2 and 3, he talks about how the Gentiles show through the actions that they do that they have the law written on their heart. So no one should be an atheist, even logically, even if they've never heard of Christianity or read the Bible or met a Catholic. They should still realize atheism doesn't make sense of the cosmos. But I think it would be a mistake to say that, therefore, they do realize that and are actively resisting it. Sometimes that's clearly the case. Like, sometimes people don't want God to exist. And you can often find that out pretty quickly by hearing what they talk about when they're talking about God. You know, like, logically, if you're an atheist, that should be the cause of the greatest sorrow in your life, because you've learned that, or learned in quotation marks, that this infinitely good God doesn't exist. But a number of atheists seem like they're mad at a God they claim not to believe in. And that doesn't make a lot of sense. And that points to something kind of irrational in it. So I think it's worth recognizing that sometimes people are driven by logical motives, and sometimes there's other things that may be going on, psychological motives and the rest. And then sometimes they're motivated by bad faith. Because I don't think psychological motives are evil. I just think sometimes they're more complicated. All that's to say, it's known to God alone, why someone is an atheist. We should be mindful of all of the possibilities that are out there. I would caution against just assuming everybody's acting in bad faith, because I don't think that's a good way to evangelize. I don't think it's a good way to understand people with whom we disagree in general. But there are certainly some people who fall in that category.
I'm going to leave it there because, as you have heard, we are doing our fundraising today. I'm very grateful for the call. Thank you. Lots more callers on the line, so I'm going to let Joe keep going back and speaking with them. But we're getting going. We've got 7 calls on the line right now. 36 of our coworkers ready to take those calls. Your calls welcome. 888-291-8000. Catholic Answers programming is paid for by listeners so that we can continue to do what we do. We're on hundreds of radio stations here in the United States. Each of those pays nothing for that. You got to support those stations. Because they're the ones getting the word out. But we're able to give it to them free, this programming, because you support us. And so I know that it can be confusing. There's EWTN. You got to support EWTN. They're doing the great work. They've got the network. There's individual stations. They need your support. And there's us making the programming, and we need your support. I will say this, even if it's a little bit confusing and it's got a lot of layers to it, it works beautifully. There is nothing in the world working right now to evangelize people stuck in traffic, in a hospital, in a prison, or just at home doing the chores, like Catholic radio is. The faith comes through hearing, and people are hearing the truth about the Catholic faith on Catholic radio. Please pick up that phone and call and support our efforts, our shared efforts here right now. 888-291-8000. Every pledge, every gift made right now is being matched up to $100,000. So there are those who can do very large gifts. We've seen extraordinary gifts. I know that, sometimes I'm almost embarrassed to say it because it's a lot of money, but people can give $15,000, sometimes $20,000. People can give 10 or 5 or $1,000 or $2,000. These are very large amounts. But if you have been blessed in that way and you can do that, we're very grateful.
We will not be embarrassed to accept your gift. If you want to give a large gift,
no, we won't be embarrassed. But
we won't pressure you to do it. But if you've got the money and can do it, we'll pressure you a little bit.
We've never made our goal without it being a kind of everybody, from the very smallest gift, $1, $5, $10, up to the $10,000 and $15,000. When we all come together, we're able to do it. I guess that's something like the Catholic faith. 888-291-8000, or you can go safe and secure online to CatholicAnswersRadio.com. If you've got your texting machine, also called a phone sometimes, you can just text the word Catholic to 24365, because that's how much we would love to talk about Jesus 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Just text the word Catholic to 24365, and that'll get you where the match is as well. All of it is matched up to $100,000. 888-291-8000. Joe, I'm going to make you work again. Let's go to Ricky in Bellevue, Nebraska, listening on Catholic.com. Right. Ricky, welcome. Go ahead with your question for Joe. Ricky, did we miss?
Hey, guys.
Oh, hey, Ricky.
Hello? Hey,
Hi.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's all right.
Joe, my question is in regards to infallibility and how many times it's actually been invoked in the history of the church. Little context. Last year, I did my first spiritual Ignatian silent retreat, and I went to the confessional and I talked to one of the priests there and asked him, because I was telling him my struggles with Catholicism and everything like that, and infallibility was one of them, and he said that the church has only invoked it 2 times. But then I listened to Michael Lofton regularly, and he said that it's actually more than that. So my question is kind of twofold. It's like, how many times actually has the church done that? And the fact that there's ambiguity on that, does that work against infallibility if we can't actually pinpoint when a pope has been infallible?
All right, Ricky, thank you.
That's a great question. So the answer of 2 times is referring to. So okay, let's roll the clock back here. When we're talking about infallibility, the Pope is not the only kind of infallible authority. The Church writ large is as well. So in an ecumenical council, when they dogmatically define something, this is also infallible. So for instance, when papal infallibility is defined, it's not that the Pope just said in his own person, I'm infallible. No, the First Vatican Council said that. And that's also infallible. And the infallibility of the Church in certain acts of councils is pretty long-standing. We don't have to question whether the Nicene Creed is reliable or not. Yeah, Christianity works because we can trust in the infallibility of councils. So I want to make that part really clear at the outset, because it sounds like infallibility can be a little bit of a hang-up for you. That the important thing is to know not only what the Bible says, but what it means. So let's talk about that a little bit after the break.
Yeah, there's going to be a couple minutes break here. Perfect time to call 888-291-8000. Every pledge of support, monthly or individual pledges matched up to $100,000. 888-291-8000.
Will you do us a favor right now? Clear your mind of all other thoughts and reflect for just a moment on how Catholic Answers Live has made a difference in your life. Has our broadcast made your afternoon commute more meaningful? Perhaps you've learned how to explain the faith to family or friends in a more vibrant, convincing way. Something you heard here may have been just the thing you needed to look into joining or returning to the Catholic faith. All of these are serious reasons to be thankful, first and foremost to God, but also to all who have financially made it possible for us to air the show each day. Believe me, our gratitude could not be deeper. And we're coming to you today during our quarterly membership drive, asking you to join the ranks of the great people whose gifts and sacrifices have helped to turn around countless lives over the years, and very possibly helped make an eternal difference for many of them. Think about that for a moment. That's what your prayers and donations to Catholic Answers Live are doing. What a tremendous opportunity is being presented to you right now. Please don't let it pass you by. Call 888-291-8000 or visit CatholicAnswersRadio.com and let one of our fast, friendly customer service team members take your pledge. Large or small, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you call right now. Again, it's 888-291-8000 or CatholicAnswersRadio.com. We're offering some great appreciation gifts that are sure to deepen your faith life even more. But what's best is you'll have the confidence that when you turn your radio on tomorrow, or next week, or 12 days from now, we'll be here, boldly and charitably presenting the truth to a world that's searching for precisely that. Your pledge is vital to keeping Catholic Answers Live on the air. Will you make the call today to 888-291-8000 or donate securely online at CatholicAnswersRadio.com? Thank you so much in advance. Give now at CatholicAnswersRadio.com or 888-291-8000. God bless you.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. Joe Heschmeyer is our guest. It's open forum. Next hour is open forum as well. Tim Staples will be our guest. And on the line is Ricky in Bellevue, Nebraska, asking about how many times papal infallibility has been invoked. Ricky got different answers from different people. And so the second question, part of that question is, if we can't get a straight answer on this, is it a problem? I'm going to let Joe continue to answer that question, but I want to remind people we have a $100,000 match right now. A $100,000 match. Perfect time to pick up the phone and make your pledge of support to help us get through the next 3 months and also be funded for the entire year. 888-291-8000. 888-291-8000.
Hey, can I add something else?
Yes.
People, if you're listening to this and you want to call in, so I won't have to interrupt so often and we can have more theological conversations. Everybody wins.
That is a
including
win.
Cy.
The less talking from me, the better. Except on those Emmy Award winning shows that I do. Other than that,
yeah. So the question Ricky asked before the break was how often papal infallibility had been invoked, and I think there's two important distinctions we need to make. One is that most of the time when the Church acts infallibly, it's not in the form of what's called an ex cathedra like from the chair, papal declaration. The other two sources that the church openly acknowledges as infallible authorities are in a solemn judgment, like at an ecumenical council, or in the consistent teaching of the ordinary and universal magisterium. And so that is also, if you want to call it people infallibility, the sensus fidelium is also, the sensus fidei is also, like, if everybody just knows X to be true, and so all Christians have always believed X doctrine, that's a really good indication that this is infallibly what the church teaches as X doctrine. So if you suddenly come along with a new form of Christianity that contradicts that, that is against something we know to be true and trustworthy, because everyone from the top to the bottom of the church believed a certain thing to be true. That's a much bigger conversation about how infallibility works. And I alluded to the fact that you need something like infallibility for Christianity to work, because how do you know if you've got the right books of the Bible? How do you know if you're interpreting them correctly? How do you know if you got the Trinity right and the natures of Christ and all this sometimes technical sounding theology that's really important? Well, it's because ultimately we can trust that God didn't give us the New Testament and then leave us. He continues to lead the church in understanding the things that he's left us with through the guidance of the Holy Spirit. So papal infallibility had been used before the First Vatican Council, but not in a way that was as clearly demarcated and defined. And so Vatican I gives a clear mechanism by which the Pope can declare things infallibly. And that he's invoked explicitly 2 times. And so that's with the Immaculate Conception and the Assumption of Mary. Now, the other thing that kind of makes the question a little more complicated is papal canonizations of saints look a lot like infallible declarations, and they're declaring something about faith and morals, namely that this person went to heaven. And so most theologians think that those are infallible as well. That is an issue some theologians will disagree on. And I think there's good arguments, frankly, on both sides with that. I don't think a ton hangs in the balance. I don't think hopefully no one is deciding whether or not to be Catholic based on the question of, is such and such a saint actually in heaven? So I know that's a lot, and I'd love to have a much longer time to unpack all of that, but that's kind of the state of the field in terms of infallibility.
Ricky, thanks. It's always nice to talk with you. 888. You know what? I'm going to give out the pledge number at the moment now, because there's just one person on the line, and 23 of our colleagues are waiting on the phone for calls. And I'll give you an update on where we are. We started out with a $100,000 dollar-for-dollar match. We want to use up the entire match, and there's $96,000 left to go. So you do the math. 888-291-8000 is the place you can call and make your pledge. As we said, often this first hour sets the tone for the whole thing. It really does help to get calls in the first hour because, you get busy later because of all the human beings that procrastinate. That's just a human quality. So if you are one of those lovely people who will pick up the phone and call now, you are helping in so many ways, especially helping us to stay funded by using up that match and helping us to make sure that we have time to take everybody's call on the last day of the pledge drive. The number 888-291-8000, 888-291-8000, 24 lines open right now. 888-291-8000. I'm going to go back to the phone. You can also get in touch with us and make your pledge at CatholicAnswersRadio.com, or you can text the word Catholic to 24365. Let's go to Northern Indiana, where Lily is listening on the Catholic Answers Live app. Lily, welcome. Go ahead with your question for Joe.
Thank you. Hi, Joe. I absolutely love the Eucharist. It's really Jesus.
Oh, thank you, Lily.
But yeah, anyway, so I am having an upcoming surgery, a very extensive jaw and mouth reconstructive surgery and stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And thank you. And I was just and recently when I go to Mass and receive the Eucharist, I hold the Eucharist in my mouth before swallowing for a little bit and just pray for healing and for Jesus to give me strength because, that's Jesus. He healed people when he touched them, and, that's still the same Jesus. I was wondering if that was okay.
That's not just okay, that's really good. So you will sometimes find Catholics who are legalistic, and bizarrely, in both directions. You will find people who claim that you're not allowed to chew the host and you'll find people who claim you have to chew the host, and both of them are making this up. I don't know a nicer way to say that. You need to consume the Eucharist. There's no rule about the role your teeth play in that. Like if I put a bunch of Skittles in my mouth and swallow them, I'm not like, well, I didn't eat them because I didn't chew them. I just inhaled them. No.
And he does
clearly,
that too, Lily.
I would do that, but I haven't. So the point is, like, we don't have to get into the nitty-gritty of metabolism. You are receiving Jesus in the Eucharist, and you are eating his flesh and drinking his blood. So then the second thing is allowing Christ to remain kind of on your tongue as the host dissolves and praying for things. This is a pious practice a lot of Catholics do, and the church has never pushed back against this, because why would we? As long as you've got that prayerful intention, as long as you're not like forgetting about the host that you've received, then this is good. Again, we don't want to become legalistic and say someone has to do that, but if someone wants to take this time where they can sensibly feel the Eucharist and pray for healing, amen. That is a beautiful thing. So I would not feel any guilt about that. I think you're doing something very good.
Lily, thank you for the call. What a beautiful call. I know that there are many people praying for you right now. We will add our prayers to theirs that you have successful surgery. And boy, you are right. Jesus is a healer. Jesus heals, and we need to have confidence in that. We don't know how, but we know he heals. He's constantly healing. So thank you again. 888-291-8000. Why am I giving out that number? That's the number to call to talk with one of our colleagues here at Catholic Answers. They are waiting to take your calls as we are in the first day of fundraising. Each February, we come to you and ask you to support us so that we can stay on the air for the next 3 months. And this is your opportunity to help us out. And we're very, very grateful that time and time again, for more than 25 years, people have called and helped out. But let me just tell you this little number, that for each tower that this radio program is broadcast on, for each tower, we average somewhere around 12 donors. So, it might be 13, might be 11, in a given year, but somewhere
it's
around
like the apostles.
12. Yeah, that's roughly 12 apostles, depending on who has
Depending on how you
misbehaved
count them,
recently.
there might be 13. So including St. Paul, or including Judas, Matthias. I mean, there's 11 to 13 is a good range.
I say that because when you think about that, you realize you are part of a small group of people who are making a big thing possible. It is not
again like
millions. Yes, right. Again, like the apostles. It's not millions and millions of people giving millions and millions of dollars. It doesn't cost us that. So we don't ask for that. We ask for what it costs, about $220,000 every 3 months, to do all of the broadcasting that we do, whether it's radio or video or podcast, all of that. 888-291-8000 is where you can go and use up some of that $100,000 dollar for dollar match. I am going to go back to the phones and let Joe do his work, but I will take this quick break while you dial 888-291-8000.
There's only one Catholic Answers Live. One of the biggest mistakes a Christian can make is to try to do good without God's help. St. Therese said, when we trust only ourselves and not God, our soul becomes incapable of virtue. Her remedy? Works of charity. And the greatest work of charity is to share the gospel. At St. Paul Street Evangelization, a Catholic nonprofit, we encourage you to share the gospel with someone who doesn't know Jesus. Catholic Answers is supported in part by St. Paul Street Evangelization, streetevangelization.com.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. It's pledge drive time. We're still taking calls. We're going to go right back to the phones with Joe. I will remind you again that if you make a pledge in any amount, it is matched up to $100,000 right now. We've never had a match like that before. Please help us use it all up. 888-291-8000. The other thing you do if you call this hour is get us off to a great start, which is usually what gets us to a great ending. 888-291-8000. I want to let you know again what the gifts are when you call and make your pledge. And then I promise I will go straight to the phones. At the $10 a month level, you become a member of Society 315. You get the Society 315 t-shirt and car magnet. You get some other stuff, but mostly you get a lot of content. So you get different things coming each month, sometimes more than once a month, behind the scenes stuff here and there at Catholic Answers. What we hope is for Society 315 to be kind of a family. And we've benefited greatly from the suggestions of people in Society 315. We love getting together and we love sending you stuff. So at the $10 a month level, in addition to your every dollar being matched immediately from that $100,000 dollar for dollar match, you will be a member of Society 315. At the $20 a month level, you will also get Joe's book, Pope Peter, and Father John Weiss's brand new book, Bible Mary, about the Mother of God, the Mother of Jesus in the Word of God. Both fantastic books. We'd love to send them to you. That's at the $20 a month level. At the $45 a month level, you also get the Mormonism course, Trent Horn's course at the School of Apologetics. You get the whole course for free, and we'll send you the 20 Answers Mormonism book as well. If you can come in at the $84 a month level or more, you are in one of our senior giving societies. They come with all kinds of benefits. You can see that online, $84 a month or one-time $1,000 gift. And one of the best benefits of that is you get all the stuff. Anything we publish over the course of the next year, we send it to you for free. All you got to do is ask. That's at $84 a month. A $100,000 dollar for dollar match on right now. Please help us use it all up. 888-291-8000. Abraham is in Atlanta, Georgia, watching on YouTube. Abraham, glad you're here. Go ahead with your question for Joe.
Hey, my question was, will Protestants be saved?
That's a good question. And the answer is yes to some. So there's kind of two directions. On the one hand, baptism saves. This is one of the things we believe, and it's one of the things Scripture really clearly teaches. 1 Peter 3, baptism now saves you. And Protestants who believe in the Trinity and baptize in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit have valid baptism. They are truly Christians. And so they have what the church describes as elements of sanctification. There are things that God is using in their lives and in their communities to make them holy. Like God wants them to be saved, and he wants them to be true saints. On the flip side, they don't have everything. They don't have the fullness of the faith. They don't have the full access to the sacraments and all of these means of salvation and sanctification that we have that help to make that spiritual journey easier on the Catholic side. They don't have that, and they don't have the fullness of the truth. So a really critical distinction has to be made here. The person who knows the Catholic Church to be founded by Jesus Christ and refuses to enter it can't be saved because they've decided they want to separate the head from the body because Jesus is the head and the church is his body, and you can't do that. You don't get to separate Jesus from his body. On the other hand, a Protestant who in good faith is unaware isn't judged for being disobedient because they weren't aware they were being disobedient. So, I don't know if you have any kids or not, but imagine you say, all right, time to get in the car. And if it's anything like my family, you might as well have not said anything, right? And so maybe one kid's outside playing and they don't hear you. And the other kid hears you and just decides not to get in the car. One of those kids is being disobedient. Both of them are in the wrong, but one of them is innocently in the wrong, and it would be wrong to punish them in any way for that. They just didn't know. They didn't hear you. So you've got people who maybe their family's been Protestant for 400 years. They're not intentionally saying, I understand what the Catholic Church teaches and I get it and I reject it. They're not being intentionally, flagrantly disobedient. Maybe 400 years ago there was some obedience in their family tree, but that's a really different situation. So at the level of, schism, that's not something you inherit. If you're brought into the Christian community and you're brought in by a schismatic group, you haven't gone into schism. You've gone into Christianity. I hope that distinction is clear, but there's basically the important thing is twofold. Number one, there's a difference between willful disobedience and misunderstanding what Jesus is asking us to do. And all of us, I think, struggle with misunderstanding sometimes what Jesus is calling us to do. Second, as Catholics, we have access to the 7 sacraments. And so Protestants have the life-giving waters of baptism, but that may be all they have, which makes it a harder journey. But we don't want to just blanketly condemn Protestants. I think there would be a great many Protestants in heaven. But the question as to who and how and all of that, these are ultimately questions left to God. And so we pray for their salvation. We also pray for unity as Christians because it's something we're called to. And so whatever the answer is there, we should push for unity within the church.
Thank you very much, Abraham, for the call. I hope that it was helpful. Sometimes we like to make these things a conversation, but we're not able to today, only because we have to raise money in order to pay the light bills and the salaries and the rent and everything that it takes to continue to do the broadcasting that we do. We come to our listeners 4 times a year, once every 3 months, and ask you for your support. There's very few places in the media, across that media dial, whether it's a television dial or a radio dial, there's very few places where the fullness of the invitation to come and be disciples of Christ, to come and find the refuge that is offered in the sacraments of his church, the healing, as Lily was talking about earlier, that is offered in the person of Jesus Christ. There's all kinds of stuff, and a lot of it hurts. It's angry, it's over-sexualized, it's confused, and it's confusing. But all we're trying to do is be in one place on the dial, sharing the fullness of the truth. If you believe that that's what's needed, we need you to help. We're having a tough hour of fundraising this hour. That happens sometimes. But the good news, we've got lots of lines open, 15 lines open to take your calls right now. And we've got a $100,000 dollar-for-dollar match. So any dollar pledged this hour is going to be matched up to $100,000. 888-291-8000. Please pick up the phone, talk with our colleagues, tell them your story, tell them why you're supporting Catholic Answers, or just tell them, I need to do this quick. Can we get it done quick? And they'll get you done in 90 seconds or 120 seconds. 888.
I don't think you'll regret it.
291-8000. Joe?
I'm sorry. I was just saying, I don't think you'll regret it. I don't think at the end of the year or at the end of your life, you're going to say, I shouldn't have given that money to Catholic Answers. Hopefully, we don't give you any reason to question that. And I don't think this is something that you look back on and say, I gave too much. I helped out too much.
Well, let me tell you what your money does too, Joe, because I forgot the Super Bowl's coming up on Sunday. And so let me just, like $220,000, what it will cost us to be fully funded for the next 3 months, $220,000. We'll do scores of radio programs, dozens and dozens of podcasts. We'll do all kinds of video. We'll be on every social media outlet for $220,000. If you want to buy $220,000 worth of advertising at the Super Bowl, that'll get you about 2.5 seconds.
Not even that.
Not even 2.5 seconds?
I just checked.
Well, what'll it
be? A 30-second ad is $7 million.
A 30-second. Oh my goodness! So let me just do the math real quick. So
$220,000
will get you nothing. It'll get you this.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
There goes our plan to use your money on a Super Bowl ad. I guess we'll just spread the gospel instead.
Yeah. So I mean, your money is being put to good use. There's nobody getting rich doing this. We keep promising Trent that he's going to, but we're not telling him the truth. And we need your money, and we put it to good use. 888-291-8000. It's $100,000. Let's use up that whole match. 888-291-8000. Back we go to the phones because I love making Joe work. And so we go to Eric in Arkansas, watching on YouTube. Eric, thank you for the call. Go ahead with your question.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys. Joe, I love your book. Eucharist is really Jesus. Really digging into that one. Love it a lot. My question, kind of short to the point, why aren't we still bound to worship God on Saturdays, the Sabbath? Where does the church... how does the church have the authority to bind us to worship on Sundays instead?
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Okay.
No, that's a really good question. So we get a clear indication from Jesus' back and forth with the Samaritan woman in John chapter 4 that there's going to be a revolution in worship. Because they're talking about whether worship should be in Mount Gerizim, as it was for the Samaritans, or in the temple in Jerusalem, as it was for the Jews. And Jesus says instead it will be in spirit and truth. So the first red flag we have is that Jesus is signaling that Christian worship is going to look pretty different, and it's going to be pretty different than what the Jews and Samaritans were doing. And so that revolution in worship, we see it in Acts of the Apostles. This isn't some later thing the church did. In Acts of the Apostles, we see that they go into the synagogue on the Sabbath, on Saturday, but then they gather for what the scriptures call the breaking of the bread, the early Eucharist, on Sunday. And so on the first day of the week, there are several references to this. St. Paul, for instance, in 1 Corinthians, talks about doing the gathering, the collection of money on the first day of the week. The Christians also got together on the first day of the week. For instance, in Acts 20, it says, on the first day of the week, when they were gathered together to break bread. And why the first day of the week? Why Sunday? Well, pretty obviously, because of Easter, that Jesus rises from the dead on the first day of the week. And in the earliest days of Christianity, this is known as the Day of the Lord, or the Lord's Day. And in the book of Revelation, we hear St. John talking about worshiping on the day of the Lord. So this revolution in worship that includes this revolution in terms of when and how we celebrate and worship God, this happens during the time of the apostles because of the resurrection.
I'm going to leave it there and hope that was helpful to you. Thank you very much for the call. We have lots more about that on our website, Catholic.com, which, by the way, is I think the most popular website for people searching for information on the Catholic Church, second only to the Vatican's own website, Catholic.com. Another thing that our listeners make possible when they make their pledges. Yes. We've got lines open.
And I actually, if I can give a quick shout out there, I just was at a young adult event yesterday. I was speaking at it. I'm too old to go to it. And I talked to someone who was like, oh, I didn't really know about Catholic Answers, but I've been going to Catholic.com with my inquiries. And she didn't put two and two together. She didn't know what group it was running Catholic.com. But a lot of people are benefiting from our work, even if they don't know it. And donors like you make that possible.
It's a shared work. I mean, this is one of the wonderful things about Catholic media in general is, because there's not millions and millions of people giving, we often know our donors. We get to know them. We get to visit when we go out to places to do talks like Joe does or MC events or whatnot. And it does feel very much like a family affair. And if you're thinking, well, other people will pay for it. Yeah, there are lots of people who have been generous with us over the years. But there's also this fact that Tim talks about all the time, that we're constantly losing donors. I mean, people decide they've got something else they need to give to. Their giving circumstances change, or they pass on. And so we constantly need new donors just to stay funded, just to keep doing what we're doing. And that is not how we work around here. We don't want to just keep doing what we're doing. We didn't start a school of apologetics. We didn't build Catholic.com into the number one, other than Vatican, Catholic website in the world. We didn't make a 25-year-old radio program that just keeps going and going. New podcasts from Joe Heschmeyer and Trent and Jimmy and Carlo and on and on and on, and more to come. We didn't do that because we're satisfied and we want to just keep doing what we're doing. The gospel is so powerful, and the world is so in need. Most of the media.
Two questions to ask.
Yeah.
Is the world where it should be?
No.
And then second, if it's not, is there something more we could be doing?
Amen.
And
brother.
I think that something like that is the guiding ethos of what we do here.
So just become a member of the family. That's what we're inviting you to do. 888-291-8000 is where you can go to make your pledge. 888-291-8000. If we could fill up the phone lines now, we're getting close to the top of the hour. The lines will stay open as we wait for Tim to come in for the second hour of Open Forum. Perfect time to call and make your pledge, and we'll use up some of that $100,000 match we have. 888-291-8000. You can do it yourself. You don't have to talk with somebody here if you've got the computer open or the iPad or the phone or whatever. It's optimized for whatever device you're using. Just go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com and make your pledge, and that will be matched dollar for dollar up to $100,000. 888-291-8000 or CatholicAnswersRadio.com. You can also text the word Catholic to 24365, and you can make your pledge there. Text the word Catholic to 24365. Catholic Answers and Catholic Radio in general is changing lives. It really is changing lives. It's rescuing people from the confusion and really abuse that many people experience in media. And even we see today, even in academia, people need to be rescued and helped.
And I might even add, there are areas in the country where if you just go into your local Catholic church and ask for the answer, you may not get the best, clearest answer. So having another outlet where you can hear maybe a better answer to your question can be really helpful for people in their faith journey.
Oh yeah, I just got an email yesterday from a priest saying thank Jimmy because Jimmy's answer helped him to formulate his answer.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so that's the kind of thing that these guys do. Thanks for your support. 12 lines open right now. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Open Forum with Tim Staples. Pick up that phone and call now. We really need to flood the phones and make this hour a successful one. 888-291-8000 or go safe and secure online at CatholicAnswersRadio.com. Joe Heschmeyer, you're a good one. Thanks for doing this hour with us.
Thanks for having me.
We will be right back with more Open Forum with Tim Staples on Catholic Answers Live. Hello and welcome to Catholic Answers Live. Cy Kellett, your host, in studio with Tim Staples. Another hour of open forum. The number to call if you have a question for Tim about the Catholic faith, whether you're Catholic or not, 888-318-7884, 888-318-7884. If you've got a question that's very simple, you're welcome. You got a question that's more complex, you are welcome. Everybody's welcome. That's what open forum means. 888-318-7884. However, I will only be giving out that number right now because we're going to be giving out the other number throughout the hour, asking people to support us for the next 3 months so we can stay on the air and continue doing what we are doing. So let me give that number out one more time. Write it down if you're planning on calling later. 888-318-7884. This hour, the other number I will be giving is the number that you can call to get right in here to this building and talk to one of our colleagues. 18 of them on the line right now, ready for your calls. And that number is 888-291-8000, 888-291-8000. We've got a $100,000 match. And when that match is used up, it's gone. And so if you would like to make your pledge now, take advantage of that match while it is available. 888-291-8000. Any pledge up to $100,000 is going to be matched dollar for dollar. When the $100,000 is gone, it is gone. Again, I'll say that number, then I will introduce our guest for this hour, 888-291-8000. Please call now. This is a perfect time because there are lots and lots of lines open. 888-291-8000. Tim Staples, senior apologist here at Catholic Answers, author of Behold Your Mother, a biblical and historical defense of the Marian doctrines. Welcome, Tim.
It is great to be with you. Am I on?
You are on, yeah. But
I couldn't hear anything in my... That was weird, you know?
I know when your headphones don't give you any...
You first watch it, it's like, am I... yeah. Anyway, hey, it's good to be with you, brother. And where are we at? What's happening? I just got here. We were in a deep discussion on the indefectibility of the church, and I realized, I'm on the air.
Oh, so you're doing your regular work. Yeah. Well, well, we need you now, Tim, because we struggled a bit the first hour, the opening of the drive. Lots of generous folks called, but we came up short of what we usually like to see in that first hour. And so right now we've got about $92,000 left on our $100,000 match. $92,000 left.
Okay.
888-291-8000.
Okay. It's 888-291-8000. You know what, folks? I just to share a little bit, we were having a discussion on the indefectibility of the church, and I just, running down the hall here to get on the air because I realized I'm late. But, I'm so excited. I took my son to confession this morning, and we had a great conversation. You come to the office, you get in a discussion like this, and I was talking to my son about the faith. And I'm like, man, we are so blessed, Cy Kellett. It's beyond belief because, we're talking about the impossibility of the church defecting and how that applies in legislation to the universal church and all sorts of different things, And, and we got all this faith. Look at this at Catholic Answers. We got all this faith everywhere you go, every office. People are on fire, and they just know that we have it right. They just know that Jesus Christ really did establish his one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. That is an historical fact. Even if you don't believe, you don't have the faith, the divine and Catholic faith that we do, I'm sorry, it's a historical fact.
It is.
Jesus established the one holy Catholic and Apostolic faith, and that is the Catholic faith, folks. And we know we're right. And we know that the Pope is infallible when he declares something definitively to the universal church on a matter of faith and morals, and he freely does so. We know that we have the fullness of the gospel of Jesus Christ. We alone possess that great gift. And, just sharing it with my son earlier, going to confession and coming back, and now all day here at Catholic Answers, getting into these awesome conversations. It's like, folks, what are you waiting for? Get on the phone. This is what needs to be defended. The one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. And the media out there is spewing out so much gunk and garbage and often filth
Yes, right.
You know, and there's so many caricatures out there as well concerning what is truly the Catholic faith to begin with. Folks, there's never been a more important time that we have Catholic Answers Live. I guess that's my long-winded way of saying, folks, we're way behind our match right now. We're not even close. We're not even in the ballpark here.
Nope, not yet.
Okay? So, folks, we really do need your help. We come to you just 4 times a year, as Cy says, over and over. And remember, right now, we're at the beginning. And over the last 3 months, we have lost people. Some people die, Cy Kellen.
Yes, I know. I'm aware of how it works.
Yes, it does work that way. Some people die. Some people move away. They don't have Catholic radio anymore, and they stop giving. And they stop giving for various reasons. So, folks, we need your help right now. We are here, and I'll guarantee you, you come to San Diego and walk around these halls. You're welcome to come. We'll talk with you. And you're going to see a beehive of activity, folks, doing one thing, and that is proclaiming the fullness of the gospel of Jesus Christ in all the ways that we do here. And we do it day in and day out. And it's not just 9 to 5 here, folks. I mean, we apologists. We're traveling. We're on the road on the weekends. We're writing on airplanes. We're doing it's not really a 40-hour. I know we're supposed to only work 40 hours. I understand that, says the
I've never seen you do it, but
that's right. But folks, look, what I'm saying is this. We're way behind right now. We have got 18 open lines right now. So we're coming to you now for your help. We need your help to proclaim the fullness of the gospel of Jesus Christ to every human being on this planet. Please pick up the phone right now, 888-291-8000, and help us out. Maybe you're already a giver. You're already giving $25 a month. Can you double that? Let me challenge you to double that this time. Let's make it $50, or even if you increase it by $10, go from $25 to $35 a month. Or maybe we need some first-time monthly donors. $10 a month. Can you do that? How about $25 a month? My friends, we need your help right now. And I have to say it. Folks, you know I have to say it. Because it's really, especially now, we are way behind. It's going to take all of us. We need those monthly donors, $25 a month. Folks, that's 888-291-8000. Come on, pick up the phone. 888-291-8000. We need those monthly donors. We need the one-time donors. $50, $20, $100. But we also need, boy, do we need, some major donors. Folks, we need that $10,000 gift. And I remember last time, I don't know if we ever got that $20,000 gift. So I'm going to pick up on that again, Cy Kellett. We need a $20,000 donor. Is that you? We need some $10,000 donors. I know we have more than one $10,000 donors. We need $5,000 donors, $2,000 donors, and I know we've got a bunch of $1,000 donors right now, folks. Please, please, if you can hear the urgency in my voice, it's because there's urgency in my voice. We really do need your help at 888-291-8000. Or remember, you can go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com, or you can text Catholic to 24365. My friends, there's just nothing more important this side of the veil than proclaiming the gospel of Jesus Christ, because it matters for all eternity.
I want to thank some of our YouTube viewers. They've been giving English Gal 234, 1901 Alina, and Richard. Where's your numbers, Richard? Come on. But thank you all for your pledges. Lots more folks to thank, but first I'm going to let Tim answer some questions. We'll start in Fargo, North Dakota, where I'm going to be there in a couple weeks up in Fargo, North Dakota. I'm really looking forward to it. Scott, listening on Real Presence Radio. Welcome, Scott. Go ahead with your question for Tim.
Where are you going to be in Fargo?
Oh, for the fundraising event for Real Presence Radio.
Oh, cool. I might come by and say hi.
Oh, please do. Fantastic. Yes. They would love it. I know. They want you there.
I've been listening to Catholic Answers for a while, and I only just recently discovered the YouTube channel. And, man, I'm still trying to resolve your image with your voice.
Oh, me?
Which one, Scott?
Which one of us are you talking about?
Hi.
Oh, me? Oh, yeah, I know, because people say it all the time. You don't sound so heavy on the air. I hate when people say that. And don't say it. I don't want to hear it. They go, oh, you sound thin on the air. That's not a nice thing to say. I don't need you to say that. Ask your question. I'm going to fume for a while.
All right, you go right ahead.
Yes.
My question is about the Holy Eucharist.
Yes.
In Matthew, Mark, and Luke, the events where Jesus institutes the Holy Eucharist
Yes.
are covered. They're bases that are covered. It's the triumphal entry, the Last Supper, the body and the blood, and the bread and the wine, and then off to the garden. Matthew, Mark, and Luke.
Right.
In John's got the same thing. He's got the triumphal entry, he's got the Last Supper, and he's got, well, we're off to the garden. But the Last Supper goes on and on and on. But my question is, that moment in the text that you would expect to see John writing about the institution of the Holy Eucharist, he's not.
Right.
He's writing about Christ washing his apostles' feet.
Right.
My question is he adding a depth of intimacy to the Eucharist, or is it, or do we, or I just don't hear it talked about that much? And is trying to add a dimension to the Eucharist, or is he simply just being John and talking about something?
Okay.
Right. Great question. John chooses, and you're right, he's got a huge portion of his gospel starting in John 13. That's pretty early on in the gospel. He focuses on Holy Thursday leading into the Passion. So that's where his focus is enormously. When it comes to the Eucharist, in preparation for his presentation of the Passion, which is his overwhelming focus, it is on the Passion of our blessed Lord. He has something that none of the other gospel writers have, and that is the Eucharistic discourse of John chapter 6. And so you could argue, has more of a focus on the Eucharist than all the other gospel writers because of that extended Eucharistic discourse in John 6. And then he connects the Eucharist to the Passion in such a dramatic way as well. So that's the way he chooses to present the Eucharist. An overt teaching, in depth. He uses language that is so disturbing in John chapter 6, right? I always mention your book, Si, because I like it so much, A Teacher of Strange Things. But is that one of the strangest of strange things? John chapter 6.
That is the strangest. John chapter 6 is the strangest thing Jesus ever says.
That's right. And he focuses on the Eucharist in such a radical fashion. Unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you. That I believe John wants to focus on that connection between the passion of our blessed Lord and his death on the cross and the eating of his flesh in communion. So it's, in my way of thinking, a powerful connection, but it is certainly different than the other than the Synoptic Gospel.
Thank you, Scott. It's the Delta Marriott Hotel in Fargo, North Dakota, the 26th of this month. Looking forward to being there. I hope I will see you. Hey, the number to call to make your pledge of support is 888-291-8000. 13 lines open at the moment, 888-291-8000, or safe and secure online at CatholicAnswersRadio.com. $100,000 dollar for dollar match to use up, and not only that, it's the first day of the pledge drive. If you call now, you're guaranteed to be part of that match. We have no idea when it will run out, so you're guaranteed if you call now to be part of that match. But also, we'll be busy on the last day, so you're saving a phone line for somebody else. So it's almost like you're doubling again by doing that. 888-291-8000.
And you know what, folks? I have to mention, the economy right now, with inflation now ticking back up, Cy Kellett, this thing is getting depressing. We've just been pummeled over the last three plus years with inflation and a terrible economy and uncertainty. And a lot of people, as a result, folks, are either out of work or they're underpaid. I know for Tim Staples, man, our food bill now is over $2,000 a month. Because I'm these kids, they just eat. They don't stop. They just eat. But I'm telling you, folks, the average Joe is hurting out there. And there are a lot. I say that to say this, folks. If you can give right now, please do, because a lot of folks simply can't. And you know what? For those of you who can't, we understand. You know what we ask? We ask for your prayers, especially at this time. We need your prayers to continue to proclaim without compromise the fullness of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I will guarantee you that is what we will do, and we always will do here at Catholic Answers. But folks, if you can't give, please pray, because that is, can I say this real loud? That is more important than your gift. It is more, prayer is more important than your financial support. If you cannot give, you pray. But folks, those of you who can, you need to step up to the plate, because we hear it here. We hear it from folks who say, I hear it personally, Tim, I would love to give, but my gosh, we're in debt. We're in debt now. We can't even make ends meet. We're struggling to pay the rent or pay the mortgage. So, folks, I had to say that. So if you can give right now, pick up the phone, please, at 888-291-8000. This is too important. And I know, you know, Cy Kellett's rubbing off on me. He is so doggone positive. And I'm the one always panicking. We're not going to make it. But you know what? I know we will. But, folks, you be a part of the solution here. Come on. Pick it up right now. We've got 16 open lines at 888-291-8000, or go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com or text Catholic to 24365. And remember, we need those big gifts, small gifts. There is no gift that is not needed here. If you can call in $10, that's $10 more than we would have had. If you can call in $10,000, that's $10,000 more than we would have. All together, though, folks, we can make this $100,000 match. Please give us a call. 888-291-8000.
888-291-8000. I want to thank Christine in Glasgow. I don't know whether she called or went on the computer, but we're awful grateful for anybody that reaches out all the way from the British Isles to support this work. Thank you very much, Christine. Mariah and her husband, Joe, gave $100. They just came into the church after listening to Catholic Answers Live for 2 years and being inspired and having all their questions answered. Praise God, Mariah. Thank you very much for letting us know that. She says, thank you so much for being one of the biggest reasons they became Catholic. That's a thank you to all of the people who put this show on, including you who give to the show. Luann in Oregon also called to make a donation. She said she listens regularly and really appreciates the support we give her as a Catholic every single day. I have to say, Luann, that's how I feel about Catholic radio. I don't need to be converted to the Catholic faith, but I need to be reminded constantly. I need to be reminded to be charitable. I need to be reminded to have faith and hope and not, become lazy in my faith. And I find that when I listen. So, Luann, thank you very much for your support. The number's 888-291-8000. That's where you can call and make your pledge of support. If you're in Glasgow, Scotland, or anywhere overseas, just try CatholicAnswersRadio.com. CatholicAnswersRadio.com. Going to Ocean City, Maryland now, where Brian is watching on YouTube. Brian, I know you've been patient. Thank you for waiting. Go ahead with your question for Tim.
Hey, thank you so much for taking my call. I really appreciate it. You guys are doing God's work.
Oh, thank you, Brian.
I am a revert. I was a non-practicing Catholic for all of my life, but I felt God's call to bring me back to the church, and I brought my parents back with me.
Oh,
and,
praise
I'm
God.
on fire for the Lord.
Beautiful.
And I was recently just confirmed, and now I'm discerning priesthood, so that's all things are great. And I just have a fire to I only feel fulfilled when I bring the gospel to other people.
Wow.
And
Praise
but
God.
the thing I noticed is I'm so knowledgeable, especially thanks to your guys at on your website. I have so many questions that have been answered. Even today, for 40 minutes, I spent looking at vicarious satisfaction versus penal substitution. So
very good.
But the problem that I have is, when I talk to people and I try to spread the gospel, I tend to overwhelm them with information.
Oh.
And I kind of wanted to know, and they get overwhelmed, and it kind of turns them away. And I don't want to do that. I want to be a door to Christ and not a wall.
Yes.
And so I was wondering what not to do during evangelization and how I can fix that.
Brian, thank you.
Brian, I highly recommend. Great book by our friend Mark Brumley. It's called The 7 Deadly Sins of Catholic Apologists. I think it's apologists. It might be evangelists, but great book. And I remember when I read that oh gosh, that's been quite a few years it came out. But I remember thinking, yep, I did. Yep, I've done that. Yep, I've got guilty. I was guilty of all 7 of them, at least, at some point. But yeah, the most important thing is that we evangelize. We can't sit around and, I've got to read 10,000 books and be perfect and then go evangelize. No, a lot of times, not a lot of times, all the time, you learn by failing. They say it in marketing, don't they, out in the world? You fail your way to the top. And there's a profound truth there. Yeah. You just get out and love people with the gospel and you learn. Now, it's good to read books like Mark Brumley's book to pick up tidbits from people who've been there and have made mistakes so that you don't make those same mistakes if possible. But no matter how many things you read, you can read about, you probably heard me say this before, you can read 10,000 books about love, but until you love somebody, you don't know what love is. You can read 10,000 books about the faith and you really don't know the faith until you give it away, right? Because faith, as well as hope and love, are theological virtues. Virtue, meaning human acts are involved. You have to act in faith, act in love, act in hope. And so get out and love people. But yeah, learn what not to do. Absolutely. I failed so every which way but loose with my families, getting angry, allowing myself to get angry. Me trying to dominate the conversation. Oh my gosh. I committed that. One of the big errors of apologists, getting on our soapbox and forgetting there's a human being at the other end of this argument. It's about listening, it's about loving and such. So I would highly recommend, check out Mark's book, but most importantly, folks, and this is to everybody, get out there and love people with the truth. And you really do. The lessons you learn in the trenches are the ones that really stick. You can read 10,000 books, you don't remember anything, but you remember when you mess up with that dude at the coffee shop and you go, why did I say that? But I'll leave you with this thought. And that is, even though it's important to get it right, read, learn, get out there, trial and error. What's amazing is I've had conversations with people, Brian, where I thought, oh my gosh, I just did that perfect. That was the perfect argument. I set him up perfect. I nailed him. We're at the coffee shop, right? Boom! And nothing happens. And then there have been times where I was so bad. Why did I do that? What? I should. And the dude converts. It's like God constantly reminds us in our daily activities who it is that really brings forth the fruit in our daily labors. It really is God. St. Paul says it in 1 Corinthians chapter 3. It's God who gives the increase. I plant, Apollos waters, but it's God who brings the increase. And if we keep that in mind, we're going to do all right. Now, folks, guess what? We are falling way behind the mark here, folks. We need your help. You know what? But I can't help it. I love talking to people about the faith like Kelly.
Yeah.
But
I know, yeah.
But I realize right now, folks, we are way behind our match, folks. We really need your help. We have 19 open lines, only 2 calls right now. You got to change that. Folks, if you've been ministered to by Catholic Answers, you've been on the sidelines, you need to give. Come on. Pick up the phone right now, 888-291-8000, 888-291-8000. Remember, you can go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com. You can text Catholic to 24365, but we need your help, and we are going to need some big donors right now. There is somebody out there that can give that $20,000 gift that will really get us going here, folks.
We need something to get us going.
Amen. 888-291-8000. I know we've got more than one that can give that $10,000 gift. We've got 5 $5,000 givers. I know we do out there. And we have, I'm guessing, $10,000 givers. But remember, $100 a month. What does that add up to? $1,200. $50 a month. And where does the match bring us to? Right?
2,400, for that.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, folks, just like that, that $25 gift brings $600, just like that. Why? $300? And you double that to $600. So, folks, we need those $25 a month gifts, $50 a month, $100 a month gifts, that one-time $50 gift, and we need those $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, and I know there is one $20,000 gift out there. Call us at 888-291-8000, 888-291-8000, or go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com. There's no line, or text Catholic to 24365.
Hey, in addition to those gifts that Tim just mentioned, come in and at a monthly pledge, because the whole year is pledged, So come in at that $10 a month level, that $20 a month level. $10 a month level, you're a member of Society 315. We want to give you all the gifts that come with that. $20 a month, we'll add a couple books, Joe Heschmeyer's Pope Peter and Bible Mary from Father John Weiss, a magnificent book. Come in at the $45 a month level, and we'll add in Trent's course on Mormonism at the School of Apologetics. 888-291-8000. Perfect time to call. 888-291-8000.
Catholic Answers Live would like to take this opportunity to thank our partners in airing our daily program. Please support the stations and networks that carry us each day, ensuring that we have a platform for broadcasting the show. And please bear in mind that while we do not have to pay for airtime on our affiliate stations, neither do they contribute to the operating costs we incur. It's a great relationship, but it requires that we turn to you, our devoted listeners, for your prayers and financial support to cover our ever-growing expenses. Please call 888-291-8000 right now and help to keep Catholic Answers Live strong. That's 888-291-8000. Or you can donate securely online at CatholicAnswersRadio.com. What began as a humble one-hour daily show that was carried by 4 radio stations has, with the generosity of many fantastic people like you, blossomed into a 2-hour broadcast heard on hundreds of AM and FM stations, the internet, Sirius XM radio, Facebook, YouTube, and via podcast. We don't make that possible. You do. We simply cannot continue this media mission without your most generous gift today. Call 888-291-8000 or log on to CatholicAnswersRadio.com and donate now. People tell us all the time how much they depend on Catholic Answers Live to help them better learn, live, and share their faith. What they're really saying is they depend on you for that. Will you come through for them right now? It only takes a couple of minutes to make a huge difference at 888-291-8000 or CatholicAnswersRadio.com. Again, 888-291-8000 or CatholicAnswersRadio.com. No matter how much you give, be assured of our gratitude and know that God will richly bless you. Phone 888-291-8000 or go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com. It's important that you take this important step right now, today, to make sure that Catholic Answers Live is here tomorrow and for years to come. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. I'm Cy Kellett, your host. Tim Staples is our guest, and it is that time of year. 3 days, every 3 months, we come to you and ask you for your support in order to be fully funded to continue to do what we do for the next 3 months. And this is the first day of our pledge drive. You'll notice that we use most of our time just to answer the calls, as we usually do. But we do have to ask you for your support, because this is the stations that you are supporting, the networks that you are supporting, the wonderful work they do. Thank you for supporting them, but they don't pay for this program. So we do need to pay for the production of this program.
Amen.
We're making more than 100 of these every year. And in addition to that, lots and lots of social media posts. And if you follow us on the social media, you see that there's new stuff all the time. A ton of podcasts, hundreds of podcasts a year by people like Trent Horn and Joe Heschmeyer and Carla Broussard, and then all the video that we do for this program and the app and all of it. It takes quite a bit to make sure that it all keeps going. $220,000, as a matter of fact, and we are a long way from that. As a matter of fact, we're just past the $20,000 mark. So we've got $200,000 to raise over the next 4.5 hours of programming. And right now, we've also got just a ton of match money. We've got a $100,000 match. We want to make sure we use it all up, and there's about $85,000 of it left. About $85,000 left of match money. So if you want to pledge $85,000 right now, you can use it all up. But if you want to pledge, if we can get 1,000 people to pledge 85, we'll use it all up right now. Let's do that. Let's get 1,000 people pledge 85 right now. 88. All right, maybe we'll see. But you see how that'll work. I mean, it's going to take all hands on deck in order to bring this ship into port. And so 888-291-8000 is the number to call. Please call right now. I'm going to let Tim do his regular job. But you know our need. You know about the match. Please pick up the phone and call 888-291-8000.
I just wanted to say, I know we've got callers. You guys hang in there. We're going to get to your calls. But I just wanted to mention, I had a friend come over to the house the other day. You know Eric Tafoya.
Oh, yeah. I know Eric.
Did we have him on Have we had him on yet?
He's from the Tepeyac?
No.
Or am I missing? I'm confused.
Oh, he may be. He may be with Tepeyac. Yeah. But the fellow was in prison.
Oh, that... now I got my two guys mixed up. I don't, but I do know the guy that was in prison. Yeah,
okay,
he's been on.
Has he been on Focus? Yeah, I thought he was on Focus. But you know what? Just having him over to the house the other day, folks, this is something you need to know. We minister to people around the world, but one very special place we minister here at Catholic Answers is in prisons. We have constant back and forth with prisoners, and Eric Tafoya was one of those who was in a gang. This guy, oh boy, what a story he has. But he shared with me and my family. My kids were entrenched. They were just, wow, in our living room, and they were asking him questions. It was kind of impromptu. And he just shared how, and you know what, Catholic Answers brought the gospel to this young man who was on his way to hell. He was on his way to destruction in prison, and you would not believe some of the things that he did, up to and including, well, I won't get into that without his permission. But folks, you know what? The bottom line is we brought Jesus to this young man, and he is now an on-fire evangelist, and he's a good apologist as well. This guy is studious and such. Folks, that's what's happening through Catholic Answers, and your support of us here at 888, call 888-291-8000. When you support Catholic Answers, you are empowering us to be able to reach the Eric Tafoyas, prisoners with no hope, dying in sin, and now this man is so filled with the love of Jesus, man. He cries. He's talking about Jesus, this guy that used to be in a gang. You know, it's just awesome. So, folks, please, we do need your help. We are, as I mentioned before, we are way behind. We need some big givers right now at 888-291-8000. We've got 6 callers on the line. Thank you for each and every one of you. 6, but we've got 18 folks waiting to hear from you right now. Empower us to be able to reach out to prisoners like Eric and so many thousands of others, and help us to be able to reach out to folks. And I'll guarantee you, we're in discussions every day with ministers of other, of Christian denominations, people of other world religions. If you only knew, and if you could read the letters we read day in and day out of the transformed lives of people who go from Hindu to Catholic, Muslim to Catholic, Judaism to Catholic, Baptist to Catholic, Orthodox to Catholic. Folks, you'd be on the phone right now at 888-291-8000. So please do not wait. Don't you dare wait till tomorrow. We need your help right now. We are way behind our match. 888-291-8000, or go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com or text Catholic to 24365. But I'll guarantee you, Cy Kellett, if they could read the letters, if they could have sat in the living room and sat across from Eric and saw his passion and just his gratitude for Catholic Answers for bringing him the fullness of the gospel of Jesus Christ, we would not be behind right now as we are. So, folks, one more time, can you, for Tim, please, for Tim, of course for Jesus, but for Tim, lest he has a heart attack, can you pick up the phone and call 888-291-8000?
888-291-8000. Tom is in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, listening on 97.3 FM. Glad you're here, Tom. Go ahead with your question for Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Yes.
Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
I got a question coming back to really what you started the show with, talking about universal and one Catholic Church. And I'm part of the Bible study that includes few guys that are non-Catholics, and one of them is non-denominational kind of home church kind of thing guy. And two things. First, he said, well, we are all universal church. Catholic means universal, so we all church, So
right.
That's one thing. But the more specific thing that I'm really calling about is in a conversation that he brought up, talking about how we are saved by Christ. He took all the sin. Bringing up Acts 5,
yes,
verses 1 to 11.
Oh, Ananias,
Ananias and Sapphira.
Yes.
That they died because God did not want them to sin anymore, and they went straight to heaven.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's an example, isn't it, of what we call eisegesis, right? Reading into, boy, you talk about an obvious case of eisegesis, reading into the text something that's not there. I'm sorry, brother, that is simply not in the text. In fact, whether Ananias and Sapphira went to heaven or hell is not in the text. It doesn't look good for them, my brother. It's, if I'm a betting man, both of them, both Ananias and Sapphira, lied to the Holy Spirit. In so doing, they lied to God. That was Peter's oracle of condemnation against them, and both of them were killed in divine judgment. So, like I said, if I'm a betting man, they're in hell. But I don't have that authority to say that definitively because the text doesn't say that, and the church certainly hasn't. But it doesn't look good. But to argue that they went immediately to heaven, oh my goodness, that is nowhere to be found in that text. I know it's not popular nowadays, Cy Kellett, to say anybody could possibly go to hell. But of course, the Catechism of the Catholic Church makes very, very clear that yes, Jesus solemnly declared in Matthew chapter 25, verse 46, and these shall depart into everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his angels. Folks, that is what the gospel of Jesus Christ teaches. Yes, hell is real. There are souls there, and there will be many souls there. What we have to focus on, my friends, is bringing the gospel of Jesus Christ to as many people as we can to bring them to heaven. Now, your friends are wrong on numerous points. The idea that, well, we're all Catholic. Well, if you're validly baptized, there is truth to that in saying, yes, you are you're not necessarily in full communion with the Catholic Church that Jesus Christ established. You're not if you're not Catholic. But you are certainly related to the Catholic Church, or even more intimately joined to the Catholic Church in an imperfect way if you have a valid baptism. But what we're about here at Catholic Answers is to bring all Christians to the fullness of the gospel of Jesus Christ that we alone possess as Catholics, and to full communion with the Catholic Church. We look at our Protestant friends, many of them on fire for the Lord, and God will be their judge, not ours, but many of them will get to heaven before me or Cy Kellett, okay? We believe that. Some will not, because they may well have rejected the truth of the Catholic faith. And my friend, if you've rejected the truth of the Catholic faith, you can go to whatever Baptist church, Muslim faith, or whatever faith you want to. It's not going to get you to heaven, because as Lumen Gentium 14 in the dogmatic constitution of the church, what it says is that they who know the Catholic Church was established by Jesus Christ, if they either refuse to enter into it or remain in it, they cannot be saved. This is God's plan of salvation. He established the church as necessary for salvation. So, brother, keep doing the work. Share the faith. If you need more help, we're here for you, brother. God bless you. Thank you for calling. And one more time, my friends, well, probably maybe about 3 or 4 more times before we go off the air. Can I beg you one more time? You know what? I can't tell you how wonderful it is for me to be able to come to work as I did today. Some of you who know my health situation in the past, there are days in which I am more grateful than you can imagine just to get out of bed and to get here to Catholic Answers to work, because, my friend, there is no more joy brought to my life outside of the sacraments and outside of my beautiful family. There is simply nothing this side of the veil that I love to do more than share the gospel of Jesus Christ with people. I mean, I do it everywhere I go. I can be a nuisance at times. I realize that, but it's because I love Jesus.
Amen, brother.
And I love this Catholic faith of ours. But folks, right now, and I'll tell you, you walk around these halls here at Catholic Answers and you see a whole lot of folks in love with Jesus Christ and in love with our one holy Catholic and apostolic faith, and that's why we do what we do. But we need your help right now. Folks, we've only got 5 folks on the line. We've got 19 open lines, and we need your help right now. We've only got 19 minutes left, and I feel like we haven't even gotten started yet. We haven't gotten started here yet. At 888, we need your help right now. 888-291-8000. We need that $20,000 gift right now. That's right, sir. Or is it ma'am? It's one of you two. Pick up the phone. 888-291-8000. We need that $20,000 gift. We need that I know there's a couple of $10,000 givers out there. We've got several $5,000 givers. Let's get some $2,000 givers, some $1,000 givers right now at 888-291-8000. And remember, folks, those monthly gifts. And dare I say again, if you give that $5,000 right now, it's doubled. You give that right. In fact, you give $20,000 right now. You know, that just hit me.
Yeah.
Because
Perfect
of the way,
time. If you're going to give $20,000, do it now.
That's right. Because all 20. Oh my goodness, that's right. That's the advantage of having the $100,000 match up front. Is, folks, let's back up here. Call right now. Give that $20,000 gift. It becomes $40,000 right now, folks. Give that $10,000 gift. It becomes $20,000 right now. Give that $5,000. It becomes $10,000. Give that $2,000. It becomes $4,000. That $1,000 becomes $2,000. And remember, that $100 a month gift becomes $2,400. That $50 a month gift, just $50 a month, becomes $1,200. Folks, what a deal with this match that we have right now. But the bottom line is, it ain't going to get matched if you don't give. So please, we've only got 4 people on the line right now. We've got 20 open. Somebody just called. We've got 19 open lines. We need your help right now at 888-291-8000. Once again, 888-291-8000. My friends, on Judgment Day, I will guarantee you will not be disappointed. Man, I'm sorry I gave that money to Catholic Answers to save souls. No, my friends, you will rejoice with the angels and saints on Judgment Day.
And I will say again, before we go, I'm going to go back to the lines and let some folks ask Tim questions, but 888-291-8000 is the number to give. I will say this too. I feel very strongly that we make good use of your money. We're not wasting your money.
Amen.
The crew works hard. We don't have tons and tons of employees. I mean, if to spend $220,000 in media is usually, you're talking about 30 seconds or 15 seconds of media for that amount of money. And we're talking about producing 3 months worth of multimedia stuff for $220,000. So I can assure you of that. But if you want more assurance, you can always ask to see the books. The books are open. Just ask Chris Check. He'll show you what we're spending the money on. Especially those of you, sometimes when people are going to give a lot of money, and Tim just asked somebody to give $10,000, somebody to give $20,000. If you're going to give a lot of money, sometimes you want to see the books.
Yes.
Just ask. Just when you get on the phone, ask, and they'll put you in touch with Chris. 888-291-8000. Back to the phones we go. Up next is Ann in Colorado, watching on YouTube. Ann, I think our rain is leaving us, and it'll be snow in Colorado shortly. So you're welcome.
Thank you. It seems like the snow has been all around us, not with us.
It hasn't hit you yet, huh? Well, we felt that way about the rain until all of a sudden it all came at once. So,
well, actually, last weekend it rained. It did not snow. It rained here, and I thank God for that, because I had to travel and I didn't want to travel the canyons in the snow. Before I ask my question, I would like to say thank you to all of you. You have been so wonderful over the years and have provided me with so much information. And if other people are as grateful as I am, they will pick up the phone and make a call right now and donate.
What?
Now,
We don't need Tim Staples.
That's right. We need her.
You're on vacation. Goodbye.
right.
We got Ann. All right. Thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you very much for saying that.
Okay. Now, the question I have is that I have, through different medias, come into apparitions that I have never heard of,
Yes.
and I don't know how to look them up. So I'm wondering, is there a source, or
Yes.
how do we find out about different apparitions or
Yes.
different people who claim they see God?
Yeah, I tell you, we are very blessed to have if you're going to talk about a one-stop shop, it's miraclehunter.com. Outstanding website, because the fellow who runs that, Michael O'Neill, right? I believe is his name. But just, he does a fantastic job, because not only do you learn, now he goes beyond just apparitions, but miracles, Eucharistic miracles, and so forth. But he has a section on his website about discernment. How does the church go about discerning, separating the wheat from the chaff, as well as going through the individual apparitions, which ones are approved by the church, which ones are not. Now, we also at Catholic Answers, we have tons of articles about the various apparitions. That's not really our bailiwick, though. We don't focus so much on private revelations. We touch on it a bit, but really our focus is on defending the faith, that which is essential to our one holy Catholic and apostolic faith. And as you know, I'm sure, there's no private revelation or even private devotion that is a matter of divine and Catholic faith. In other words, not necessary for salvation. These are helps. They're important helps. Absolutely are. They are great gifts given to us by God, to be sure. But our focus is more on defending our divine and Catholic faith that is necessary for salvation. But check it out. And I recommend it to everybody, folks, because I got to tell you, that's kind of my one-stop shop, Psych-Elliot. I go to Miracle Hunter all the time because they really do a good job. And they keep up to date, too, with a lot. Because, man, I can't even keep up with a lot of the alleged apparitions that are going around the world and so forth. So check it out. But you know what, folks? And thanks so much for your call. I wish we had more time to talk. But, folks, one more time. We've got 12 minutes left. We are way behind. But you know what? I know folks are coming through right now. I saw those active lines were moving up here.
Yeah, they did move up.
They were moving up for a while, drop back down. Now we've got 8 active calls. We got 19 open lines. So, folks, in these last 11 minutes, we need some miracles. Now, don't you dare. Oh, well, I was going to give $25, so I'm not going to call now. No, you call. We've got plenty of open lines. In fact, we've opened up more lines. We've got 28 lines.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a lot of lines this time. Lots of folks in the building.
We've
ready
got
to
a
take your
whole
calls.
lot of lines, 29 lines right now, 28. Okay, so folks, no, if you're going to give $25, we need you to call right now, 888-291-8000. That is crucial for us. But we also need right now those $100 a month givers, those $25 a month givers. We need that $20,000. It really is going to be all of us. If we're going to make this $100,000 match, and folks, we don't just want to make the match. We want to do more here at Catholic Answers. And if I could tell you, we've got some stuff in store, folks. If we can get the money to do it, we've got some stuff in store. Hopefully soon I'll be able to share something that I'm hoping I will be able to do. And I'm excited about, but I can't say it yet. 888-291-8000. But we need your help to do more projects. And those monthly gifts, folks, that $25 a month, that's doubled, that becomes $600. $300 and it's matched, that becomes $600. That's crucial for us to be able to plan what we can do. We've got those monthly gifts and that money coming in. So we need you right now, that $100 a month. Come on, 888-291-8000. Again, if you're already giving $25 a month, double it. Make it $50 now. Give us a call, 888-291-8000. Now, folks, one more time, we need that $20,000 giver right now at 888-291-8000. It becomes $40,000. You can.
That's how it works. Yep.
This is what's going to take us over the top. That $20,000 gift, that $10,000 gift. I know we have 2 of them out there. Come on, 2 of them. $10,000 gifts, $5,000 gifts. We've got a bunch of $2,000 and $1,000 givers. I know. Let's do it. Folks, we've got 10 minutes left at 888-291-8000 for this first day. Now, yeah, they can still call, right? Even after that 10 minutes?
As soon as we go off the air, people will continue to call, and they'll stay on the phones until, as long as the phones are ringing, somebody will be answering.
That's right. As long as they keep ringing, we will be here. So, folks, 888-291-8000. Join with us. It is glorious to see souls come to Jesus and come to the fullness of the gospel of Jesus Christ. There is simply nothing like it. And with your gifts, you really do participate in the fruits of our labors.
Daniel on YouTube, thank you for your donation. Daniel said that we helped him learn the truth of the Bible and leave a dark, depressed place. And he told people on YouTube they do help people like me. Daniel, thank you. It's very generous of you. Claire is in Europe. I know that because she made her donation in euros. She's listening or watching on YouTube. If I wasn't disabled and was rich, I would donate much more. I love you guys so much. You've helped me so much. Claire, thank you very much. We can spend euros. We can spend Australian dollars, British pounds, whatever you got. CatholicAnswersRadio.com. And let's go back to the phones.
Let's do it.
Let's go to Eric in Riverside. Eric, welcome. Go ahead with your question for Tim.
How's it going today, you guys?
Doing great, brother. What's on your mind?
Yeah. Well, I'm just disheartened. I was just wondering if you could tell people, I have some friends and some brothers that don't want to listen to me, but I'm trying to bring something their direction. What is the importance of apologetics and evangelization in the church?
No, don't answer that yet, because I know who this is. This is the Eric that you were just talking about. You were just visiting Tim at his house.
Yeah.
Well, you can't call if you get to go to his house and ask questions.
That's right. Eric, were you disguising your voice right here?
It's nice to hear from you, Eric.
You know what? I was actually saying, how's it going, Si?
Very
good. You guys. How are you doing?
Well, you know what, brother? But in answer to your question, and I know you know this as well as I do, or even better, brother, you're on fire. But our first Pope commanded us in 1 Peter 3:15.
Yeah.
He said it. Sanctify the Lord God in your hearts always, and be ready to give everyone a reason for the hope that lies within you. Reason, or a response. That's the Greek word apologia. That's where apologetics comes from. It's the science of giving reasons why we believe what we believe. And this is what we're about. We have a mandate from Jesus Christ through our first Pope, who wrote 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15 right there. And that's a commandment. As you know, brother, the Catechism of the Catholic Church, I want to say section 900, and yes, it is section 900, says it is both a right and an obligation of every Catholic, either individually or grouped together in associations, to evangelize. You don't have to ask your bishop permission to evangelize your neighbor. You have a mandate from Jesus Christ. Now, of course, we have the church we need to stay in union with, and if we get out of line, they'll whack us. Absolutely. They'll gently bring us back to our senses. But, folks, that's what this is all about. And you know what, folks? Eric, I got to say bye to you, man. Thanks so much for calling. Because
thank you, Eric.
We've only got...
thank you, guys. God bless you guys.
God bless you, brother. We've only got 6 minutes left. Can you be one of the ones that's going to bring us over the finish line for these first 2 hours? Now, again, we've got the $100,000 match, right?
$100,000.
But we need to get a bigger chunk of that $100,000 met right now. We need some folks right now. There's got to be that $20,000 giver right now. 888-291-8000, or that $10,000 giver. 888-291-8000. How about that $5,000 giver? 888-291-8000, 2,000, 1,000, and please, those monthly donors. Everything is doubled, folks. Call us now.
888-291-8000 is the number to call. There's still $74,000 available for the match. Any pledge matched dollar for dollar up to $74,000 right now. They'll stay on the lines as long as you keep calling. 888-291-8000. After hours or right now, you can go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com And if you would like to make a monthly pledge, we've got gifts for you. You can check them out on our website, CatholicAnswersRadio.com, or I can just tell you about them. At the $10 level, you're a member of Society 315 and all the benefits that come with that. At the $20 a month level, you're a member of Society 315, and you get the book Pope Peter and the book Bible Mary.
Don't stop calling.
And if you come in at the $45 a month level, we'll add Trent's course on Mormonism at the School of Apologetics. 888-291-8000 is the number. Help us out. It's been a tough day. There's still time to call. 888-291-8000.
Don't stop calling, folks. Don't stop calling. Don't stop calling.